Okay, so this is one of those things that I've looked at and dismissed countless times now. So it occurred to me the other day when I was looking at it again that actually the fact that I do keep coming back to it, even if I do dismiss it afterwards, means that it is still bothering me to some extent. Clearly it's not something that I can completely let go of. So I'm going to share it with you guys and see your thoughts on it. So what I'm talking about is something that came up on the dispatch audio from nearly midnight on the 2nd of May. And it was something that one of the drones came across. There are a few different times when the drones discovered heat sources, and on occasion they were basically attributed to, in one case, statues. Statue swans, I think they were. And you can hear in the audio them going, yeah, okay, we're going to move them further up towards the garden so that basically you guys don't get it again. But this one doesn't seem to have an explanation. Not one that I can be happy with. This one also has a dog team going in and having an interesting result. So I'm going to go through each of the clips from the dispatch audio and just discuss it as we go along.
Halifax Command, copy on the drone team.
Go ahead.
I got a point of interest for you. 2 heat signatures by the water source. Read you off coordinates.
Right, go ahead.
45.429505 north. Second set's going to be 62.81602.8 west.
That is 45.429505 62.816028.
10-4.
Was that just a point of interest, or what are you seeing?
I've got 2 heat signatures. One appears like it could be small object sitting. Just 2 heat signatures sitting close together near the water.
So this is one of a few heat sources that have been discussed in the dispatch audio for May the 2nd. The thing that stands out to me is that this particular location is right by a water source, and it is also very close to 2 lots of Mackenzie land. From my understanding, and I'm not going to show you because if I'm wrong then I'm doxing the wrong people, but from my understanding there is a Mackenzie who has land in Lansdowne Station Road and another one who has land in McLeod Road. And you could pretty much make a triangle from those 2 properties to this spot without really hitting any other properties. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it also appears to be in close proximity to that campground that Daniel keeps talking about quite frequently. The one that he claims that Justin Smith was staying at, which I don't believe is actually the case.
Was it you that found the 2 heat sources?
Negative, that was Elma.
Are you guys back up in the air, or are you still on the ground?
10-4, we are back up in the air and resuming our flight path.
Can you go back to the spot that you're seeing the 2 heat sources there and check it over again there, please?
10-4, we will return to those locations.
All right, the A1 drone there. The team are finding a duck there in the water.
Halifax ground crew, Elma drone team.
Yeah, go ahead.
We are directly overhead. Your most west member should be looking at the 2 heat signatures, whatever it is. Directly to your right, you just walk past it.
You copying this 207 Todd? You copying the air pass?
Yeah, ground crew, on the drone team. I am directly overhead of the heat signature. I'm about as low as I can get safely.
The drone is directly over the team. So what are you seeing? Just look at the heat signature from the drone.
Affirmative. It is directly between the tree and the water. You have a member within 5 feet of it. Currently walking away from it. Turn around 180 and walk forward. Continue forward. Bank left. You're directly over both heat sources. I'm going to assume it's nothing.
The team says they're not seeing anything.
Yeah, 10-4, they're directly over it, so it must be something holding heat.
Roger, copy that.
Okay, so it bothers me that they dismissed it so quickly. I know it was dark, so it would have just appeared, I guess, as just ground. But they have a heat source that's been identified by a drone. And I know they were looking for missing children. But when you listen through the dispatch, it sounds to me like even on day one, they were starting to get a little bit suspicious. Meaning that whoever was on the radio should have made note of that location and investigated it further. But they've just dismissed it offhand. Yeah, there's a heat source there. We can't see anything, so let's just dismiss it completely. And I'll come back to that later because this continues.
GSAR Command from GSAR K9, over.
Yeah, go ahead.
GSAR Command, GSAR K9, we just brought the dog down for a quick recce of the area where those heat signatures were. He's indicating that we're at on the river. We're just wondering if we're in the same area that was just searched. So.
Barking enough, I couldn't quite make up that. I don't think we got a team in there anymore.
GSAR Command, Team 119. GSAR K9, just the dog's indicating where we're at on the river here, and we're just curious if this is the same area that we just had with the heat signature. Because if he's picking up on the team that was just here, then that would make sense. Over.
You copying that, K9? All right. Okay, Todd. You're back on the highway, right? On the road? Yeah, K9, they're back up on the road, on the Logham Town Road, whatever. They're back on the road, the other team that was just there. Did you copy that, K9, that the team that was up there at the last coordinates looking for the heat spot there, they're back on the road.
GSAR Command, GSAR K9, over. We see their headlamps as they were taking off. Just want to make sure that they were on the opposite side of the river. Cause
You're copying this. You're on the south side of the river, not the north side? K9, they're on the south side of the river. K9, they stay on the south side of the river. They can go the other side.
Copy that. We're on the opposite side of the river, so it was like the other team that the dog was indicating on, over.
As far as I know, there is nobody up there besides that team when they're on the south side. Yeah, they remember seeing your headlights too, so they seen you guys.
Okay, so from what I can tell from the dispatch audio, what was going on there is that on one hand you have the team that found that was standing directly over the heat source. And that was dismissed as absolutely nothing, totally not worry about it. And then the dog team went in, but on the other side of the river. And the dog was alerting. And they radioed through and said, is this where the team was? And according to the dispatch, no, the dog team is on the opposite side of the river to the team that was standing over the heat source. And yet the dog was alerting to something. And the dog handler said, well, okay, then it must be alerting to another team. And the dispatcher is saying, well, not the dispatcher, but the guy in control is saying, I don't think there's another team out there. So you have a mystery heat source. And then on the other side of the river, you have a dog that's alerting to something on the other side of the river, approaching that mystery heat source. And both have been just disregarded. I didn't hear any mention of taking the dogs around to the other side of the river and checking where the heat source was. I also didn't hear anything more of them deciding to let the dogs follow a trail. Did the trail go to the water? Because if they're scent dogs and someone had been carrying something through the water, let's say the water might have been, say, waist deep, then the dogs would probably lose the scent. Now, all this occurred shortly before midnight, so obviously it was dark. You have these searchers who were apparently standing directly over a heat source, and yet nobody questioned it. Nobody said, well, okay, we can't see anything. What's going on here? I'm wondering if anyone ever went back and investigated that location, because it's just got me a little bit baffled. Like I said, I listened to this multiple times, and each time I just went, okay, well, they just assumed it was nothing. They're experienced searchers. I guess they know what they're doing. And you could think that. But my question is this. If you are using FLIR technology, which is your heat sensing infrared technology in the drones, and it picks up a heat source, then that could be indicating different soil composition in just that location. It could be indicating something directly below the surface of the soil. For example, a pipe, or maybe a container of some sort. It could be showing a difference in moisture in the soil. So I would be wanting to actually go back, once they realised that this wasn't just a case of children wandering off, I wonder if they actually ever went back and investigated that location. I wonder what it looks like from a drone, because it would be a dead giveaway if you happen to fly a drone over that area and, for example, the trees around that particular spot looked a bit greener than the other trees from a flush of nutrients over the last couple of months. Or maybe that particular location, the soil now goes down in a dip. You know, they could be important tells. In terms of different soil composition, if you've dug up a hole, dug a shallow grave, let's say, and then you filled it back in, then the topsoil is going to be different soil composition from the soil around it. And we're talking May in Nova Scotia, so it's possible that the soil from deeper down could also be warmer because it hasn't been closer to the surface. Likewise, a difference in moisture could be because that particular spot has been dug up and then covered up again. So, to me, there are reasons that you could get a heat source showing without anything being overly visible, especially not close to midnight when it's dark. They weren't looking for burial locations. They were looking for two missing children. So had they noticed the soil was a little bit disturbed or something, Had they noticed, had there been rocks over the area? It sounds like it wasn't something that was at the forefront of their minds. Maybe I'm just jumping to conclusions here. But, like I said, this has bothered me since the first time I heard this dispatch. The assumption that it's just nothing. Well, if you're standing straight over the heat source and you can't see anything, it's nothing. Oh, well, if the dogs are alerting and you happen to be on the other side of the river from this heat source, it's just nothing. Was there a search team where the dogs were? No, there wasn't. I can't see that there was ever a search team where the dog is alerting. But hey, it's just nothing. Maybe I'm misinterpreting. But it bothers me. The searchers were told on day one by Daniel and Malaya, oh, the children wouldn't have crossed the road. Don't need to search in that direction. Daniel was super confident that the human remains detection dogs wouldn't find anything in the vicinity of 1407. He also spoke about wading through or running through waist-deep water.
We covered everywhere possible. Even in the first day we did. Even with me running through the woods, I was ahead of the helicopters and ahead of the drones and stuff like that. Screaming as loud as I can. And just until my throat hurt. Running through water that was up to my waist.
And then there's the following clip, which if you saw yesterday's video, you'll know this was the catalyst for yesterday's video. Because what he says here is somewhat disturbing, in my opinion.
And did they allow you to walk with them throughout the search?
Yeah, I did walk with them for some of it, but then I was like, I don't want to get in the way. They were asking me where they should search and stuff like that. So I just told them, do whatever you need to do. There's the beaver pond out back. There's the marsh right beside the house. Like these are wetland areas, so the ground's much softer, right?
Yeah.
So I figured, you know what I mean? Those might be good places to start for them.
So as I mentioned in yesterday's video, he's basically told them, look for areas near water where the ground's going to be softer. Well, the only reason you look for areas where the ground is going to be softer is if you're looking for burial sites. Now, maybe all this is completely unconnected, but it just concerns me that it seems to have been dismissed over the dispatch. We found a heat source. We can't actually see anything. It's dark, but we can't see anything above ground. So we're just going to dismiss it and not worry about it. Oh, the dogs, they're alerting to over the river from this heat source. We're not going to take the dogs over the river and check out the location of the heat source, by the sounds of it. We're just going to dismiss it and say, oh, it must have been another team. But then the guy on the radio is saying there was no other team there. So what was the dog alerting to? This has been a slightly shorter video than my usual ones. But like I said, it's something that's been bugging me from the first time I listened to the dispatch, way back when Paula first put it out. And I keep going back to it. And then I keep going, well, okay, they just don't seem to be concerned about it, so maybe we should be concerned about it. But it still bothers me. So I wanted to get it out here in a video. Get it mentioned. So that brings us to the end of this video. Now, I had one or two people questioning why I didn't do a full video on the post from Wade's daughter. And as I said in my response to one individual, I feel that the topic has been well and truly discussed by pretty much every other channel. I'm not sure that I could actually bring anything new to the table in terms of that discussion. I think what I said at the beginning of yesterday's video pretty much covers it in a nutshell. But I will be coming back to it in a later video because I do want to do a video that specifically looks at DV, coercive control, all that sort of thing. And I think that will be something that factors into that when I do that discussion. So on that note, thanks for listening. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe. Help me try and reach 7,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Also, please hit that like button and please leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts on this dispatch audio. Do you think it was something that they just should have dismissed, or do you think it's something that should have been followed up? What do you think any of it means? So on that note, thank you, and I will catch you in the next one.